morning, everybody. Welcome to Capital Preservation Friday. I'm your host, Pax, and this is my co-host, Penny Lane Blayne. How are you, everybody? Hello, Penny. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. Welcome to the Place Your Trades Network. We are the network that focuses on daily options using CME Group's event contracts to trade E-mini, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, 2000, gold, silver, euro, crude oil, natty gas, and copper. Today, we have a great show for you. We're going to talk about capital preservation in light of trading on tilt. If you guys have not seen Blayne's blog post that she had posted on Twitter and the Place Your Trades website, please do. It's a great read. It's beautifully written and very honest and raw. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Tradeovate, which has built a custom app. I always lose myself when I'm reading this, which has built a custom app dedicated to trading CME event contracts. This is what we are all using at Place Your Trades. We're all going to the Money Show. The Place Your Trades network is going to the Money Show in the third weekend of April. I'm going. I'm excited about it. Blayne is going. Julia Cordova's going. OG Strat's going, Swing Pony's going. It's going to be fun. Anne-Marie, Shy Girl, Anthony Crudele will be there. You can't find a better group of people. So I suggest that everybody head out there. Go to placeyourtrades.com, sign up for Tradeovate, download the app. And if you're not trading the event contracts, you're not looking at the event contracts. They're a fun segue into trading the markets. For example, I have never placed a natural gas trade in my life, but I have been paying attention to natty gas a lot more often, and I feel more in tune with it because I've traded it in the event contracts. And so I'm starting to learn a whole nother market that I've never been a part of before, just because I could buy a trade with very little money and see if I can pull some money out of the market, which is what we're all doing. We're not setting the world on fire. We're not reinventing the wheel. Trading is very simple. It's not that difficult. We make it difficult. We make it a lot harder than what it really needs to be. It's not that difficult. We try to sell them higher where we bought them, or we try to buy them lower than where we sell them. That's it. One of the things that I say all the time about the market, I'm not a macro trader. I'm not going to make trades based off of the macro picture, but I'll ask somebody, why did the market make a major move? And I tweeted yesterday about the 5% break in crypto. And of course, somebody had to remind me of my own words. Why is crypto lower by 5%? And somebody came in on Twitter and said, more sellers than buyers. And that's something that I say all the time, just to keep it simple. More sellers than buyers. Of course, it was more sellers than buyers. It pushed the market down. Why? That's a completely different story. But keeping it simple, I think, is the theme of Capital Preservation Friday. And it's certainly the theme this week. Penny Lane Blayne has written a beautiful and raw and honest, insightful article, blog post into what tilt trading feels like, the opposite poles of what we go through. Penny, can you tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about the experience that you had last week?
Sure. So last week, I decided to trade with more capital than I usually trade with. And it came after a very good couple of months where I thought I had good control of myself and I had gathered some profits. And honestly, I had gotten to the point in my life where I was saying to people oh, I think I'm good at this, which is obviously like a death nail. And I'll never say that again. I'll continually say how terrible I am.
No. You are good at this. And you have to say that. You have to say it out loud, and you have to believe it. The way that you say it and the way that you believe it and the way that you know it is in a business-like manner, not in an emotional or egotistical manner. And I think that's where we get hung up. When our emotions become involved, then all of a sudden we leave our business process. We leave our business plan that we have every day, and the plan goes out the window. And thank you for being honest and open about this, because it really is it's such an important topic.
Well, I struggled a lot with that because, I've got my Twitter followers, and I was very concerned about letting people down. It means a lot to me to everything I've built on Twitter, I've done with honesty. And I felt like everyone was kind of behind me, oh, she's finally doing good after all this time. And I was very concerned about letting people down. So I wanted to just pretend like it didn't happen. But then it did happen. And it's important to me to be honest about things, because I think I've said before, if I ever do finally figure this out, I want it to be authentic and I want people to know what it took. And it's also important to me as a woman. Um, I never want anyone to say like that I did or didn't do well at this, like, because I'm a woman. I want it to be like proven in the history that I made mistakes and I learned from it. It's all very important to me. So I didn't really want to be honest about the trading on tilt. But anyway, I did. And I
Well,
was very happy to do it in a blog post where I could tell the story versus a tweet where it's just a couple of characters. So I felt like I could explain it better.
you said this in your post too, in your article. Tell me a little bit about what you mean by figuring it out. What does that mean to you? Do we ever figure it out as traders? Do we figure it out? And what is it?
I think that the answer to that is yes and no. You can find a system that works for you and execute that system over and over, but then I'm also torn because obviously the market changes constantly. That's the only constant about the market, is that it's changing. And based on the data and the results of my trading the last couple months, I'm exceptionally good at trading trend days and exceptionally bad at trading non-trend days.
Me too.
And the kicker of that is you don't know what it's going to be. And if I could just harness enough, it's not my favorite topic. If I could just harness enough self-control to only trade trend days, then wouldn't I have it? Wouldn't I be great?
I'm the same way, the exact same way, which is why this resonates with me so much. And I've been through this so many times. The idea is that as we mature and we grow as traders, we recognize what our strengths and our weaknesses are. And you know that your strength is trading trend days, and that your weakness is markets that don't go anywhere. You're not a scalper. You're a momentum breakout trader. And I'm the same way. I can really lose a lot of money in markets that aren't doing anything, aren't going anywhere. And I continually do. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I'll still fall into that. You have a particular set of strengths and weaknesses because you're an artist, you're a mother, you are a sensitive, emotive, artistic woman. That artistic part of you is very, very emotional. And that is one of the things that makes you such a great trader. You can sense, and I'm the same way. I talk about this all the time. I could feel people's energy, and I can sense where they are in their life. And I can, and that makes me effective when I meet people. I've never met a stranger. I'll be in a Starbucks line and meet somebody and talk to them for 5 minutes, and they become my best friend in the world for that 5 minutes. I might not ever see them again, but for that 5 minutes, I want them to feel like they're the most important people in the world. As a kid growing up, that sensitive nature, I'll talk about me and not put words in your mouth. That sensitive nature, my mother would always say, "Oh, Mandy, you'll see someday it's a gift." When's it going to be a gift? It sucks. I feel everything so deeply and profoundly. But as I became a trader and as I matured as a trader, it was a gift because I can sense the market movement. I just sense, almost like,
I do know.
right.
I do know.
I know, you know,
Yeah.
And that's the artistic part of you. You can feel it, you see it, you sense it, but, that can also pull you in emotionally and pull you in. You don't mean it in the, in a negative sense, but, pull you in an egotistical sense. Whereas, you start to feel elated when you have a good trade on. You start to feel so deflated when you have a negative trade or a trade going against you on, when that pulls us in emotionally and it pulls us into our ego, and we start to really kind of define ourselves by that. Then all kinds of negative things happen. We leave our business plan, which means we leave our process, right? We leave our methodology behind, and we start to hold things that we would normally get out. In your blog post, you talked about how, and hopefully this is something that you learned from me, when you put on a trade, you pay for it, and then you take a little bit of profit and you leave something on for the move. You don't hold on for dear life like so many young traders do now. And that seems to be the popular narrative out there, is just, you buy or sell something and you hold on until the market decides which way it's going to go. The way that I trade is I pay for my trade and remove my risk. I take profit. And now that helps me pull my emotional sense out of it. That helps me pull my sensitive nature out of it. And it's all about the market then at that point. If I buy 43s, once that market goes 44 bid, it's removed me out of the equation. My emotions are no longer involved. I'll get aggravated if the market doesn't go, but I put in a scratch stop, and that market is only going to do one of two things. It's either going to come down and scratch me out, or it's going to come up and pay me, and I'm going to take profit on it. So that removes my emotions from that trade, and I become more matter of fact about it, and I can focus on my business and not the other stuff that's going on in my heart or my soul, and to do all of those things, to be able to be consistent in harnessing my emotions and learning how to use them in an effective manner. It's important to me to be able to keep my morning routines and my afternoon routines, my evening routines. It's important for me to almost be a boring middle-aged white man, but go to bed at 9 o'clock. My wife makes fun out of me for being an old man. You're going to start having dinner at 4. I would have dinner at 4 if I wasn't the only person around. I go to bed at 9:30 every night. I wake up and I do the same thing over and over again. I make my bed, I pray, I meditate, I do some stretching, yoga, I do some breathing, all of these things. That's before I come downstairs and look at the market. It's before I come downstairs and look at the price action and make my adjustments to my business plan. I make a business plan every night. I adjust it after I go through all of those things, so that enables me. Doesn't guarantee, but it does put me in the driver's seat of removing my emotions from my trading so that I can focus on the price action, so that I can focus on the market as it is, not as I want it to be or as I think it should be. I can focus on what the market is doing at that second. The other thing too that you got caught into, and this is also part of that emotional sense and also part of that artistic nature that you are, is you sized up for the wrong reasons, and you all of a sudden slapped them on, when really you should have been reducing size. I say this all the time, and it's become another cliche, I think, for the way I talk, is trading is not about how many wiggles you catch or how many trades you catch. It's not about how many back and forths you do. It's about how you decide to increase your size, decrease your size, and decide when and not to trade, when not to have a position on. When we become emotionally attached to that trade for whatever reason, we become egotistically attached to that trade. When we should be decreasing our size, we're going to increase our size. When we should be increasing our size, we're going to decrease our size. We do the opposite of what we should do. And I've heard a lot of traders, and I've thought this too, well, if I think that the market is going higher, I'm just going to sell them. I'm going to do the opposite of what I think the market is going to do, just because we become so attached to this that we end up increasing when we should decrease. We decrease when we should increase. We let trades go that we should take, and we take trades that we should let go. We do the opposite of what we ought to be doing because our vision into the market becomes skewed by who and what we are and what we're bringing to the screens. And so we need to be able to learn how to use all of that to our benefit and not to our detriment. Increasing our size, something that traders don't talk enough about, is account management and how to properly manage your trading account. My trading account is my business. It's the brick and mortar. I like a pizzeria. I own a pizzeria someplace, and the brick and mortar of my building is my computer systems, which are down right now. I somehow screwed up my CQG. I have to have somebody come in and fix it. That's the inventory that I have in my business is going to be the money that's in my trading account. My trading account money is not money that is risk capital. It's not risk capital. I'm not willing to lose the money in my account, whether it's 10,000 or 100,000 or $1 million. I'm not willing to lose that. It's money that I need in my business in order to be able to do my business. And that's why I talk about expenses versus loss. I don't lose money. I spend money to make money, just like any other business. And I have a business plan that I execute every day to the best of my ability. And part of that business plan is knowing when to increase my size, decrease my size, and when not to trade. And I take it one trade at a time. When I become emotionally involved in the market, I'm going to leave that behind.
Thank you guys for being so supportive in the chat. Very kind of you.
What's everyone saying?
I think it's just all supportive.
Of course. Why wouldn't they be? Everybody's gone through this, Blayne.
One thing that I want to talk about that I don't think anybody or I haven't really seen people talk about because it's such a taboo thing is like, I'm not just trading to beat a game or become good at it or because I'm competitive as hell, which I am, which is not my greatest thing. But like, I have a family and I have 2 kids and we have expenses. Like, I need to make money doing this. And there are things in life that happen, like our property tax bill or the credit card bill from Christmas or a vet bill or my son's baseball lessons that come, that I think to myself, like, I could pay this bill by trading today. Like I could make a trade and then pull this money out and pay for my son's lessons or whatever it is. And it's such a paradox because in order to trade well, you need to not really need the money. I'm not an independently wealthy person. Like I don't know if I'll ever get to the place where I don't want or need the money. And that's difficult for me. And it makes it hard to lose the money. And then it makes it enticing.
When you lose money, when you have a day like that, do you think to yourself, God, all of the things that you could have done with that money, what's wrong with me? And you let it go so easily. If you lose $5,000, I let that $5,000 go so easy, and I could have done this with it. I could have done that with it. I really hurt my family. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you just talking about the pressure that we put ourselves under to make money? Whether I'm going to pay my mortgage out of my trading account this month, or I have to pay my mortgage out of the trading account.
I think it's the latter. As someone who's very much a people pleaser, and like the amount of pressure that I put myself under to trade well and to make money from trading. Like I kind of famously started trading because I wanted to make enough money to take my kids to Disney World. And that was 2 years ago. I have not made the money to take my kids to Disney World. Now my son is 8 and like almost too old. Have I given the market enough for like 4 or 5 trips to Disney? I sure have. And like, what kind of selfish mother am I, right? That I would like keep working on this thing instead of taking them. There's all of that like shit.
All that does is tie you back emotionally into your trading, which then makes you focus on your results and not your process. When I start to focus on my results, my P&L, or how much money I've made in my life, how much money I've lost, whatever, how much money I made this month, or how much money I made this week, or how much money I've made today or lost. When I start to focus on my results, I've got to please people. I've got to not please people, but impress. I've got to impress people in the Pax group. I'm Pax. I've got to be a great trader. All of these things. I can't be human. When I start to focus on my results, then my business plan goes out the window. I need to focus on my process. When I focus on my process, trade by trade, one trade at a time, and I protect myself constantly. Buy 43s, the market goes 43 off, or I'm out. Buy 43s, they stay bid. I've got something going. If it's easy, I want it. If it's not easy, I don't. Taking it one trade at a time like that helps me continue to focus on my process, on my business plan, and execute that. When I start to think about all of those other ancillary things, all of those other, they're important and they're meaningful, but it's not part of my business. It's part of what my business will give me if I stick to my business. If I stick to my business plan, those things will happen. I will be able to afford to take my family to Disneyland or Disney World, or, for this week we're going skiing in Breckenridge with my oldest son. I can't afford, I can take him to Mexico for a couple of weeks. I can do whatever the things that we want to do, send him to school, send him to college, pay the bills, all of those things. If I focus on the pressure that I've got in my life, I am my wife stays home with our kids and manages our house, and she helps me manage my business. I am the sole provider. I'm the only one that provides an income in our home, and that's just the way it is. If I focus on that pressure, then all I'm going to do is buckle under that pressure. If I focus on my business plan and what I need to do in order to achieve my goals day by day, week by week, month by month, and have clearly set goals, then I'm going to be able to focus on what I need to do to achieve those goals, and not focus on the goals and what I'm doing to throw those goals out the window. So that's a worthy reason to become a trader, is to do those sorts of things for your family. But that focusing on that, and not your business and not your business plan, trade by trade, day by day, week by week, month by month, is what is going to continue to hurt you and pull you into that mindset where you're gonna likely tilt trade. Now, we're all human beings, Blayne, so it's going to happen to you again. You will trade on tilt again. I will too. But the idea, as we mature and grow as traders, is that it becomes less and less severe, and it becomes less and less frequent. So when I trade on tilt, last time I tilt traded was August 3rd, when my oldest son came home from Colorado for a week. I wanted to show him, hey, Danny, I like doing this. Ego. Hey, Danny, look how much money I made today. The market didn't do anything. We didn't leave the opening range, and I got killed because I was flipping. I'm not a flipper.
Yeah.
And I became emotionally involved. I started to focus on my results because I wanted to impress my son. And instead, I ended up getting killed and ruined the whole day that it was when he came home. Our blow-up days, or our tilt days, become less and less severe and less frequent.
Uh-oh. Oops. He left. Savannah just said, I don't know if I have that much to say just on my own. Sure, you can share my screen. Savannah wants to share my Trade app. Would you look at that? I can't believe we're back at 4,000. I'm such a bear in the market. I did not expect that rally yesterday. And luckily, I was red yesterday and long during that huge spike in the S&P. And it was very fun. It was one of the fun moments of trading. So that was great, but I absolutely just got lucky there. I really appreciate you guys reading the post and being in chat this morning and all the support. I've been wrestling very much with if I should continue trading or just take a real hard look in the mirror and walk away and just say, oh, this is something I actually couldn't do. It's very, very, very hard for me to admit that I can't do something, but I got to figure that out. So that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of weeks. And I just appreciate very much all the nice things you guys said. And I will see you on Wednesday. Have a good Trading Friday, guys. Bye.